All right, guys, we are going to be looking at our last section of text structure. So get your text structure packet out and let's do a quick review of all four of the text structures that we've talked about. So the first one is chronological order, that's time order. So the purpose is to tell an order in which events occurred. Some things that you can find in the writing, you might see first, next, then last. You might see years, you might see numbers. Okay, all of those are going to be chronological order. The next text structure is cause and effect. It tells what happened and why it happened. You might see words like because, if, when, so, or as a result. Okay, the next text structure that we talked about was problem and solution. So it provides a problem and it describes how that problem can be solved. And then the last one is compare and contrast. And that shows similarities and differences between two or more things. And we might see words like however, on the other hand, similarly, like, or unlike. So what we're going to do is we're going to now test our skills. Okay, we're going to test our skills. So what I would like for you to do is we're going to go to the back 3 pages. Okay, 3 pages before the end. You are going to see, hold on, a section that looks like this. Okay, it says title, and then what is the text structure, and then how do I know? So the directions say we're going to read the passages, and those are on those last 2 pages, and we're going to use clues to determine the text structure of each passage, and then we're going to fill in the chart. All right, so let's look at number 1. The first title that we're going to look at is Crocodiles and Alligators. Okay, so I'm going to look over here. I'm going to see this little passage right here on crocodiles and alligators. Now, my first clue is they're giving me 2 things that are not the same. So I know that they're probably going to be comparing 2 different things. So what text structure would that be? So let's listen and see if we can hear some of those words. I'll read and you follow along. Crocodiles and alligators look very much alike, but there are ways to tell them apart. The crocodile has a pointy snout while the alligator's snout is rounder. The crocodile weighs less than the alligator and can move faster. Both animals have an extra long lower tooth, yes. When the mouth is closed, the tooth is hidden inside the mouth. All right, so what are they doing with those two things? Is it talking about time order, cause and effect, problem and solution, or compare and contrast? Well, we're comparing and contrasting 2 things. So right here where it says text structure, we're going to write compare and contrast. Now the next thing says, how do I know? How do I know? Well, it gives similarities and differences of 2 animals. And I just kind of abbreviated that a little bit. I just put sim and diff of 2 animals. All right, let's move on to, do you kind of see what we're doing now? Okay, so let's move on to Clara Barton. So Clara Barton, if you go to this page, she is the next little story right here. All right, Clara Barton. Clara Barton was born in Oxford, Massachusetts. She taught school and worked at the United States Patent Office. When the Civil War broke out, Clara worked as a nurse. She brought supplies to soldiers and worked in the battlefield. In fact, she was called the Angel of the Battlefield. In 1869, Clara went to Europe. There she worked with the International Red Cross. Clara returned to the U.S. in 1873. In 1881, she set up the American National Red Cross. Clara Barton helped many people in her lifetime. All right, so it's about a person, okay? Did it have years in it? Did it say, like, in this year she did this? First she did this, then this, then this. Did it have numbers talking about dates? Yeah. It didn't give us what happened and why it happened. It didn't give us a problem and a solution, and it didn't compare two things. So Clara Barton is chronological order. Okay, remember chrono and then logical order. And how do I know that? It has dates and a person. Okay, so we're talking about their life. So I just put dates and a person. All right, cooking class. Let's go to cooking class, which is right here. Okay, third section down. Today in cooking class, we are going to learn how to make an easy family dinner. In place of an unhealthy meal, you can make these muffin meatballs. We will use ground turkey, pre-cut vegetables, and 1 egg. These are very tasty and will disappear from your table. First, let's preheat the oven. It needs to be nice and hot when the meatballs go in. Now, let's mix the meat, eggs, and vegetables. Add salt and pepper and shape the mixture into balls. Make sure you make 6 even balls. If the muffins are uneven, they will not be ready at the same time. Put each ball into a muffin tin. Bake for 40 minutes. These muffin meatballs are sure to please everyone in the family. All right. Is this an order? Tell the order in which events occur. Does it tell what happened and why it happened? Does it provide a problem and describe how it's to be solved? Or did it compare 2 different things? What do you think? Well, I think that it was in order. And I know that because if I read it, it says, first I do this. Now I do this. Then I add this. So it is another what? Chronological order. Okay, chronological order. That's a different one. That's a step-by-step. But that is also a chronological order. And how do I know? Because it talks about first, next. Okay. All right, now let's look at the Transcontinental Railroad. At one time, Americans couldn't get from coast to coast by train. The train tracks did not go all the way across the United States. This was a problem. I heard a word there that might make me think something. This was a problem because it took months to travel from one side of the country to the other. Suddenly, in the early 1860s, the railroad companies decided to begin building a transcontinental railroad. This railroad would allow Americans to cross the continent in less than a week. What a better way to travel. So, it talked about what? There was a problem. What was the problem? People couldn't travel across the United States by train. So what was the solution? The Transcontinental Railroad. So the Transcontinental problem and solution. Look right here. See, it had the word problem in it. It provides a problem and describes how it was solved. All right, so problem and solution. And in there, I know because it gives a problem and tells how it's solved. Okay, so problem and solution. Gives a problem and tells me how it's solved. All right, let's go on to early money. And then I'm going to have you guys do some of these yourself. Okay, so let's go to early money. During the Revolutionary War and for a long time afterwards, colonists used British, French, and Spanish money. Because the British government would not allow the colonists to make their own coins, they made paper money instead. By the mid-1700s, there was more paper money than there was gold or silver for which the bills could be traded. As a result, the British government ordered the colonists to stop making paper money. All right, now, this has a clue in here. It has as a result. Okay, so they're telling us about a what? It's a cause and effect. It tells us what happened and why it happened. What happened? The British government wouldn't let them make coins. So then what? Because they said they couldn't make coins, what did they do? They made paper money. And then when they made paper money, what was as a result? As a result, then they came and said, you can't make paper money. So this is a cause and effect. And I know because it says as a result. So that is telling me that because one thing happened, as a result, another thing happened. All right, danger, danger. Here we go. Some scientists are worried about what will happen to people and animals if large forests and jungles in the world are destroyed. The trees and green plants in the forests and jungles produce oxygen, which is released into the atmosphere. Animals and people need this oxygen to breathe. If huge areas of green plants and trees are destroyed, there will not be enough oxygen produced to keep people and animals alive. So what should be done? The solution may be based on what is possible. People need to restore or fix ruined forest lands along with protecting areas of forest that already exist. This is not a simple solution, but at least we can try. So it talks about solutions. So solutions, so we're looking at what? It presented a problem. What's the problem? People need oxygen. What's the other problem? The rainforests are getting cut down. What's the solution? They tell us we need to restore the forests that have been cut down, and we also need to prevent forests from being cut down. So, problem and solution. And we know because it gives us ideas to solve a problem. All right, so lots of reading. My throat is dry. All right, so what I want you to do, my friends, is to finish up this last section. There are 4 more on the very last page. There are 4 more little sections for you to read and answer whether they're problems or solutions. If you get stuck on a word or don't know what this says, please ask a parent, aunt, uncle, grandma, older brother or sister, whoever you need to read this, help you read this. And then you are going to answer the questions on this page. You're going to fill it in. Okay, those last 4. Then this packet will be completed and it will be ready to go into your learning portfolio when you pick those up on Wednesday with me. Okay? So remember, Wednesday is our goodbye day that I get to see you in person, and it's also the day for you to pick up your things, and in your things will be your portfolio. Okay? And this can go in your portfolio. All right, my friends, finish up those last 4 questions, and then you are done. Bye.